everyone, and welcome to the Jeff Fuller Show. Today I have with me Michael Sinensky. Now, Michael is the CEO of Simplevenue and WeShield. So, what's interesting about Michael's challenge is that he's been an entrepreneur, but COVID sort of mixed things up and provided some real challenges for him. So, Michael is recognised as a business leader and philanthropist as the co-founder and CEO of medical supply company WeShield, and co-founder of hospitality company Simplevenue. Now, Michael founded WeShield in response to COVID-19 pandemic. All his hospitality businesses were forced to close by applying his strengths in leadership, extensive network, and supply chain management. WeShield is now a nationally recognised medical supply company and supplies safety supplies to some of the largest government agencies. WeShield is powered by a proprietary sales and marketing process and driven by AI, and has quickly established itself as one of the leading suppliers in the industry. Michael sits on the boards of New York City Hospitality Alliance, the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce, and previously represented New York City Comptroller Scott Stringer on the board of American Museum of Natural History and Wildlife Conservation Society. He's a graduate of New York University Stern School of Business. Great to have you on the show, Michael.
Thank you so much.
So
you did your homework.
I did. I can read as well, which is very encouraging, isn't it? So
that makes one of us.
So Michael, we interview, have a chat with fireside chat with entrepreneurs, and so you've been to the Stern School of Business, which I believe is quite a elite school of business. But what got you to start, what inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
I mean, I was an entrepreneur since I was a kid. I was selling school supplies in public school, and then selling baseball cards in middle school, selling candy with 8 other kids in high school. Like, I had a whole candy mafia thing going on. And in college, I started throwing parties. I barely attended class at Stern. I actually had kids. I paid kids to take classes for me and do my work for me. I wasn't I didn't love school, but I loved living in New York City. The rest is history.
So the hospitality business that you started, where did that idea come from? Because I'm always intrigued by ideas.
Oh my God.
So, because ideas are one thing, taking action is another. So, where did the idea come from? Can you remember, or was it just a drunken conversation in a New York bar?
I was throwing parties, and I remember I was going to my parties before I was legally allowed in them. Right. And I started throwing concerts. And we would do these big sports weekends where we would rent out, these halls or venues for like 3-4 days in a row, tied to sports big weekends like NBA All-Star Weekend or the Super Bowl.
Yep.
We actually did a huge thing in California in 2003 or 2004, I can't remember, but it went really wrong. Like, I was either going to make $1 million or I was going to lose everything, including all my property. And unfortunately, that was one of my first failures.
Right.
And I was 22 at the time. I don't know how many years ago. I was 17. So I was 24 at the time, and I came back to New York, broke. I had an apartment, which I was able to buy with my promoting money. And I came back missing mortgage payments. And I actually took a job at a bar because I was, as a event planner and marketing manager. So, that's what I was really good at. I was getting people to go to a space and filling a venue. That's what my expertise was. So, within 2 months, 3 months of running this bar, I increased their business by, at least 75 to 100%. Wow. I remember, within 3 months. And, I really enjoyed it because, unlike the concert business, which is, all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that can go wrong. Um, at least with the bar business, there could be bad days. There could be a hurricane, a snowstorm, but at least you'll be able to open a few days later. It's a 365-day year business, not a one day where all your eggs are in one basket. So I moved away from those big festivals and concerts, and I enjoyed, operating bars. And that was the first of many. It was called Proof. And a guy named Matt Schindel, who was one of my original mentors, he gave me a shot. And I had one of the best years after my failure. And that's, something that happens to me. Like I've had around 3 failures in my life, big failures. And the following year turned out to be the best year at that time of my life for business. So it just, it shows how an entrepreneur can bounce back.
Yeah, it's a challenge, isn't it? So that's really a mindset and attitude to life, which I really love hearing those stories, that you've bounced back from tough times. And it's happened to me 2 or 3 times as well. And but why do you think you were good at the hospitality business? Was it your personality? Was it you just loved what you're doing? You worked hard, you're creative? What do you think was your secret sauce?
I am definitely an event planner at heart.
Yep.
I love making sure everyone is having a good time when we plan trips. I'm planning the craziest itineraries for everyone, like down to the minute. And I just I like having control over other people's time, making sure that they're having the best time. And, at the expense of my own good time. So, based on that, that's a customer service job.
Yep.
That's hospitality in a nutshell. So,
Yep.
so my personality lends to it, and it makes me happy. So, making sure everyone's having a good time makes me happy, and that's what hospitality is, and I love it.
So there was a quote I heard from George Lucas said that you're not only got to love what you do, but also love the process of doing that. Do you enjoy the process of putting it all together, that attention to detail for an event?
So I love the putting the team together, the coming up with the idea,
Yep.
launching something, and seeing everyone enjoy it,
Yep.
and then getting the hell out and going to the next thing. I'm de- I'm definitely not an ops guy to see it through to the end. And a lot of people say you got to count the pennies to make the dollars. Um, I'm the opposite way. I'm happy with 50 cents. If I can do what I love and move on to the next thing, to expand, to scale, like that's what I love.
Right. Um, so so what you do is surround yourself with people that got that attention to detail. Is that what you're saying?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
An entrepreneur is only as good as its team, as his or her team, and as a CEO, I've had so many good employees, and I would be unemployed if I didn't have these employees.
Yeah, great.
So
Yeah, and that's what basically you can buy time, and that's called paying other people to help you do what you need to do. And so you you're great at hospitality, like at events, but then you started Simplevenue, which operates a unique food and beverage micro concepts in underutilized spaces within hotel and restaurant properties. How did that start? And then we're going to get onto the story of how COVID affected that. How did that start?
So after another failure of mine in the hospitality industry, where I opened up a fast casual brand where it was smoked Texas barbecue meets Mexican food. So we
Right.
basically smoking brisket,
Yep.
uh, pulled pork and chicken, and putting it into burritos, tacos, and bowls. And it was amazing. Like the food was unbelievable. But I I listened to the noise of like people that, the owner of Panda Express came in, the owner of Pret a Manger, the owner of Arby's, like all these people are coming in who love the concept because it was so popular. We had lines literally down the block, like,
Yep.
100 people waiting to come into this tiny place. And I listened to that noise, and instead of, focusing on making sure this one place was successful and could be expanded properly, I expanded to 5 locations within 18 months, over budget, undercapitalized, without the right team to open up, at the wrong time, in the worst winter I could have ever imagined, and I wound up losing a couple $1 million. And you know, again, this was like the second time in my life actually, where the first time was the concerts, but this was the second time where I had this huge failure where I lost everything. I had to sell a bunch of properties that I owned just to pay some debts. Lost a few $1 million. And I realized the biggest problem in that business was I was investing so much money into other people's properties, that if something went wrong, I would lose everything. I would be in debt so much money because I owed so much in rent. So
Right.
after that failure, I realized that I never want to pay rent ever again.
Yep.
And around 4 years ago, 5 years ago now, I saw, I don't know, I think you lost me.
Yep. I don't know what happened there. You've hit a button or something. Okay, we're back.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's right.
So around 5 years ago, I started a company with the realization that hoteliers and real estate developers, they know a lot about developing properties and real estate, but they know nothing about hospitality and food and beverage. So, we thought, hey, we can create content and create amenities for all these hoteliers and developers who don't know anything about this business, but we could also do it in places they would never even think to monetize. So we would take the weirdest space imaginable, luggage storage closet, conference rooms, concierge desks, spaces behind the mechanicals, basement, second floor offices, and turn those into cool, unique foodie concepts.
You're right.
And we did something called Sushi by Boo, which is a timed experience. You get to sit down with a sushi chef, and in 30 minutes for $50, you get this amazing omakase meal, seated with only 7 other people in a tiny speakeasy room.
Right.
And people just loved it. They loved it. And from there, because of the success, the owners and real estate developers, hoteliers asked us, can you do more things? So then we started taking, we were the first in the world to take a hotel room and turn it into a full service restaurant.
Right. Okay.
So it's something called Sushi Suite, and we're doing other concepts too. But Sushi Suite, basically check in to the front desk, you prepay like a Broadway show, and they have your name at the door, like like a hotel reservation. They hand you a room key, and then you take this. You go up the elevator to room 1001 at this hotel, and you use your hotel room key and go inside. And it's this 4-seat omakase sushi bar, and it's the coolest experience. And there's a patio where you can drink, you can hang out with your friends for hours, and it's just one of the most intimate, cool, luxurious experiences for an affordable price that I've ever heard of. And it's just an amazing thing that we invented it, and it's ours. So no rent. That's the bottom line of that story. No rent.
Okay.
We go into partnerships with the landlords and hoteliers, like a joint venture where we split the profits.
Okay.
And they usually put up the money to open up our venues.
Okay. So what you're doing is you're reducing the risk instead of taking on risk.
Yes, we are running almost a zero risk business in one of the riskiest industries in the world.
I like it. Okay. So you obviously you learn from the past experiences, Michael.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, save money on office space. Hence why I'm in my bedroom. No, I'm joking.
Okay.
I'm in my bedroom because it's COVID and we don't have offices right now, and
Yeah.
I have nowhere to go besides here.
Okay. Don't worry. That sounds like 50% of the people in the world, frankly, Michael. So.
Yeah.
So, COVID hit and hospitality basically gets hammered. So you had to rely on your resilience again to do this. So you had to pivot into another business to, um, pay the bills and make money. So intrigued by what you did to get into WeShield. So it hit beginning of last year, and you must have start to see the writing on the wall, going, okay, I've got to do something. So where did WeShield come out of? Just watching there's an opportunity to sell masks because of COVID. How did it all start, and the idea?
So, January 2020 came, and uh, no one saw what was coming, right?
No.
Like we heard about it, the first couple of cases and this and that. Super Bowl came in February. Still, it still wasn't really a bad thing. And then as March came, it was getting, like zombie apocalypse time, right?
Yep.
So, so in New York, just they closed the schools at the beginning of March, and our venues went from 100% capacity to like 10% capacity, and we went from doing around 50 million in business, accrued annually, to essentially zero. And then comes March 17th, and the government closes us, right? March 17th for me is another one of the worst days for me. The third of my failures, and first time I was actually unemployed, trying to go on unemployment. That
Right.
was a very scary time. I had around 25 venues,
Wow.
right before, and now I had zero. So that was a rough time.
I bet.
I had no clue what I was doing. My wife had a dental practice. She was closed also.
Yeah.
Apparently, going to a bar and whitening your teeth are not uh,
Essential
things that
services.
are needed. Yeah, essential services. Um, so we were unemployed, and we didn't know what we were going to do. And um, I actually started a charity several years before this. So I went back to my charity, and I was just the charity is called Friends of Rockaway, and we basically, depending upon the disaster, we figure out the needs. I started the charity um, based on my hometown Rockaway getting destroyed by Hurricane Sandy,
Right.
and I rebuilt to date with the help of SBP, and who's our fiscal sponsor, as well as amazing so many other volunteers and sponsors. We rebuilt 300 homes in Rockaway, and
Wow.
and you know helped out thousands of homeowners to get their lives back in order.
Yep.
And that was some of the best work I've ever done, especially being that it was volunteer and never made a dollar on it. That was some of the best work I've ever done,
Yep.
and I had such a good time doing it too, actually, even though it was like such a serious thing.
Yep.
So I went back to that charity after COVID, and the need at the time was obviously everyone was hearing about the PPE shortage globally.
Mm-hmm.
New York hospitals, you saw doctors putting on garbage bags for gowns, reusing medical masks after surgery, going into operations without gloves, treating patients without the proper equipment.
Yep.
And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe America and New York looked like a third world country. Like, we didn't have the tools to fight what was happening.
Yep.
So, I wanted to help. And at first I tried to get product donated to us, so we can donate it to the hospitals and the nursing homes and home care attendants. And, nobody had it. And the people who had it definitely didn't want to,
Yeah.
voluntarily hand it out for free, because, it was such a scarcity, and it was in such high demand, and they were asking for such a high price. So then I just, I took some of my savings, which was depleting by the day, and I bought some masks. I bought some masks, and I saw how that worked, and it was a shit show. And I donated to a few hospitals, but it was such a tiny amount for what was $15,000. It was such a weak, like, looking donation, and I wanted to do more. Um, so around that time, people just were asking me, because I have a big network, Michael, can you help us? People in government, people in large businesses, people in the medical industry. They were just like, we can't get PPE. We need your help. Can you help us? Can you find anything? So I said, hold on. And one of my investors from my company who had nursing homes said, if you can help me get masks, I will send you millions of dollars of business, right? Yeah. So I found an importer who was a friend of mine who he had another friend, and he had a friend, et cetera. And we basically put up a good amount of money to bring masks in from China. And I can't tell you how crazy and how risky and how scared of an experience that was, to send like $500,000 to China.
Yeah.
And then not see a mask for 3 weeks, have it told to you that the government took it got lost. I mean, it's stuck in customs. I mean, that was the craziest time. But from that one experience, we realized that we can do this. And, we then created this big company, and from one deal to the next, it was just growing like, we were basically selling ice in a desert. So it wasn't, as long as we can get that ice, the people in the desert were willing to buy it.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest part. The toughest part was finding the supply.
Yep.
So we, we then broke away from our original partners, and me and my best friend and partner, Roman, we then put in, I'm really sorry, hold on.
Okay. Okay.
I keep losing it. Do you edit at all?
Yeah, we do. Don't worry. I've got editors to do all this.
I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay. So one thing led to another. We then implemented. So I'll just take a step back. After that first deal and realizing, we can do this, and there's so many people to help, we decided to go out on our own, because we had the supply and we had the customers, right? So we decided to go on our own, and we went all in. By May, we basically took whatever we made from that first month of like these deals that were going on, and we went all in and hired up, and we put in this artificial intelligence marketing software that we actually owned a company that utilized this software. And our company was selling the software, which also went under for COVID.
What's the name of that company, Michael?
That was called AI Assist.
AI Assist.
So,
okay.
So we sold artificial intelligence marketing software. So it manages your leads. So we used this software, and we were able to reach out to so many end users who were desperately needing help. And the fact that we were able to get into their, right in front of them at the right time, via robots, via a robot contacting them relentlessly, we were able to crush it. We in a year from May to January, in half a year, we did around $60 million in revenue.
Wow.
And we were named number 53rd fastest growing company in America by Inc. 5000.
Wow. That's quite a story. So So WeShield, so you hit these, you use some really smart technology to scale. And what I suppose the question I have too is, it sounds like you have an incredible network, in other words, relationships with people that help you in tough times and in good times. Would that be one of your superpowers?
Definitely. That comes from being that event planner and customer service and hospitality. I know a lot of people. I've helped a lot of people. We there's a huge circle of my network, and I'm a believer in every person you meet, put them in your phone, put their contact. How do you know them? So that you can organize your contacts based on what you can work with them in the future.
Yep.
So with this PPE thing, there were all these secret society chats on Telegram and WhatsApp and Signal and Discord, all these crazy encrypted sites where people didn't want anyone seeing their conversations, but there lived this black market world of PPE traders, right? And
Right.
at first there were hundreds of people throwing around these bullshit fake deals of like, $1 billion 3M 1860 deals. And, later on we realized nothing was real. But every single person I met in this industry, I put them in as PPE one, their name, PPE two, their name, PPE three, and I'm at PPE 5,000 right now. So like
Okay.
I've met 5,000 people in 18 months that I've worked with or talked to about working with, that I know is in this business. And that is also how I've been able to succeed, is because like people call me the mayor of PPE, right? So, you know,
Okay.
you got to put yourself out there. You have to put yourself out there, but not in a fake way. Like,
No.
you go to these networking events and
Oh yeah, yeah.
everyone wears these name tags and like,
Oh,
hi, what do you do?
I
No,
know.
it's like you have to have a passion for what you do. So my passion is talking to people, helping, and seeing how we can work together. So it doesn't change the PPE or the bar business or concerts or sales or anything. It's loving what you do and talking about that, and how you can help each other. With networking, it's usually what you can get out of people. Like,
Yep.
what can you do for me?
Yep.
With my strategy is what can we do for each other?
Yep. Well, that's the only way it really works, isn't it?
I
In
think
other
so.
words, you got to think of what other people need and then help them with that, and then the world shows up once you do that.
Well, once you've become powerful enough, then it tips. Then you can demand people just help you.
Well, that reminds me of the series, I think it's on HBO, called Billions, which
Yeah.
is fascinating from that sort of point of view.
Yep.
Which I just
Yep.
finished that series, and the new one starts next year. So superpower. So how do you nurture those networks? You basically go out of your way to help people until you reach a position where they want
Um.
help.
So so I mean, the way I nurture, my networks is I think, I guess, and I definitely believe that I'm a natural born leader. So I do put myself out there where I lead, and I in the example of PPE, I established basically, like, in WhatsApp and Telegram, there are people who create these group chats,
Yep.
and the people who create these group chats then have a responsibility to ensure that, or at least I think they have a responsibility to ensure that there's no scamming, there's no fraud
Yep.
happening under their watch.
Yep.
Now, a lot of people didn't give a shit. They just created these chats so they can make a lot of money, right? I obviously created these chats to make money, but at the same time, I took admins who were willing from other chats, who were willing to start a society together of cleaning up the industry. So I created this society of around 100 administrators of Telegram, WhatsApp, Facebook, all these PP chats, who were willing to clean up the industry because there was a lot of fraud. And what we would do is we would have this our own little group chat for around 100 people,
Yep.
and every day we would submit people that we think were scamming.
Yep.
And if we agreed, if we had a majority, we would add them to a list. And then we would also take their, we would write down on the list why, we thought they were either, we call them a joker broker or a scammer,
Okay.
or a fraudster. And then we would share this list with the community. And not only that, we would remove any of these people from all of our chats. And we had like 50 chats together, right? So it was a powerful thing. We were cleaning up the industry. Now, I think, we have a responsibility of not only making money, but doing good.
Absolutely.
So I think that's one way to nurture your network is by being, you know, honest and helpful, and people then will look to you as someone they can trust. And throughout the pandemic, everyone would come to me, Michael, have you worked with this guy? Yes, I have. Good deal. Don't worry about it. No, I've never worked with him. No, he's not even my phone. Be careful. No, he's on this list. Definitely walk away. So like, people would come to me looking for my, advice to transact with people because so much money was flying around. And then even more so, we would have like these fake courts and fake appeals where people could come and appeal the fact that they were on the list. So we developed like this community,
Right.
to ensure that so many other people, thousands of other people, wouldn't get scammed. And I think that's, being a leader, like I think that's one great way to nurture your network is to go out of your way to ensure your network
Just look
is
after.
okay.
Yeah.
Is okay, and it's that you're not just looking to take stuff out of them.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's so funny. so, so you're not just looking to take everything from them. You're looking to give out more than you get. It's like sort of like being a mentor.
Yeah.
And I pride myself on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, and that's why I was intrigued by how you did your nurturing, because networking is one thing, but nurturing it is another, because it takes a lot of time and effort and passion. Um, so, what was the term you used before that you're not the godfather of PPE, was it?
The mayor.
The
I'm the
mayor of,
mayor.
yeah, the mayor sounds much more trustworthy than the godfather of PPE.
Yeah, the mayor of WhatsApp PPE.
I love that.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's fantastic.
so it was a crazy ride. It culminated to in June. We were actually acquired by a public company called Optech, and
Right.
they're a publicly traded company on the OTC, with the ticker symbol OPTI. Like it's a penny stock right now, and
Yeah.
we have high hopes and big plans to uplist to the Nasdaq. So just our company alone, we're at around 150 million sales in 18 months. So it's a crazy wild ride from what I came from. It's very, very stressful and nerve wracking because you're
Yeah.
I mean, indirectly you're helping to save lives, you're helping to protect lives. So you have a lot of desperate people looking for the same stuff everyone else is in the world, and you have to help them, right? So like my job besides CEO of WeShield is head of supply. So my job is to ensure my company has the supply to give to our clients, which it's very stressful.
Yeah. And because there's a whole strain on the whole logistics distribution
Oh
business at
my
the moment,
God.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Christmas time and holiday time. You're going to see people not getting holiday gifts. You're already starting to see empty shelves in America. You can't. You're 4 to 6 months away from getting furniture, from getting appliances. I've never seen anything like this, and everything is so backed up because all these factories all pivoted to something else.
Right.
During the pandemic.
Yep. And then the cost of freight is like quadrupled. I
Yeah,
think.
it's coming
Yeah.
down now, but it hit, as an example, it's only supposed to be a couple $1,000s for a container, those big metal containers that you
Yep.
see on those cargo ships. At the height, only a few weeks ago, it was at $30,000 a container.
Wow.
And then they ran out of containers.
Yep.
So it's just, right now, I can't believe what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's people saying it's going to recover quite quickly, and others say it's going to be going on for a long time, and maybe the truth sits somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I think PPE was here before COVID. Doctors and hospitals and construction workers, were always in need of PPE. Restaurant workers with gloves, and masks are not going to go away on public transportation, airports. Um, it's here to stay, and
Mm.
I wish it wasn't. I wish I never sold a mask again to a civilian,
Yeah.
because I don't like to see the world like this. I wish I can concentrate on what PPE should really be needed for, which is construction workers, hospital staff, surgery, restaurant workers, etc. I
Yeah.
wish I could just do that, but it is what it is, and we're going to do what we can to help out our clients.
Yeah. Yeah, the same here, and we're all missing travel, and we're all missing new experiences. And we've been in lockdown here in Sydney for about 3 or 4 months. And
I know
I've,
I can't believe what Australia is doing.
yeah, I look, we're out of it. We're almost out of it now, but yeah, I can't even leave the country. That's the other challenge as well.
I know it's just like it's like
It's like a hermit kingdom.
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, COVID is very bad, but
Yeah,
the second, like, I went to Portugal recently, and Lisbon. I was there like less than a decade ago, and it was thriving. It was beautiful. It was just an awesome place to be, party town. And now I went there recently, and it's destitute. It's broke. It's poor. It's like
yeah,
it's empty. And it's like these countries are the countries that are choosing to live with it are thriving, and the
mm,
countries that are letting COVID dictate their society by shutting down
mm,
are ruined. And it's a tough position to be in,
mm,
because you're choosing economy or lives, but economy is lives also. It's just
yeah,
very difficult to
yeah,
to you know.
yeah. It's challenging to watch. It's interesting to watch every government different reaction, people's reaction to things. But um, yeah,
Well, in America, we have 50 states, and these 50 states are like 50 countries.
exactly.
So we have 50 different opinions, and it makes this even harder. You go from one state to the next. In New York right now, I can't go to a restaurant if I don't have my vaccination, my proof of vaccination.
Yeah,
And it's nuts.
yeah. Well, that's what we have here now. Is you need to have vaccination, be fully vaccinated to go to a restaurant. But look, I've enjoyed the simplicity of it in a sense because I live in Sydney, which is a beautiful place. So I can walk to the beach, the harbour. Just had me go out and eat at a restaurant. So I've actually started cooking, Michael.
Wow. I make a bad joke to my wife. I said, because she wasn't cooking before COVID, and I said to her, I'm like, 600,000 people had to die for you to become a chef. It's terrible. Sorry,
Yeah, yeah,
but it's like, this is what had to happen for her to become a cook.
yeah. Well,
So I'm
my pa-
sorry, it's a bad joke.
that's okay. I totally get it. So, Michael, just to wrap it up here, I love your stories. You seem to be able to live with a high level of risk, and hats off to you. And I've been the same in the past. But uh, and you seem to have gone from the doghouse to the penthouse multiple times, and looking forward to hearing the rest of your journey, and hopefully with an IPO with what you're doing. Um, so, Michael, as an entrepreneur, what are a few things you'd love to share with our audience just to wrap it up here? What's two or three things that you
So
would like to share that are
so
important as an entrepreneur?
well, first of all, I want to share the fact that I wrote my first book about this whole experience with COVID and the pivot, and that should be coming out in a couple months. So that was truly exciting. It's like a memoir, and also, failure is about giving up and staying down. Success is about always getting up,
Yep.
and I am the proof that you can fail and you can be more successful than ever right after. And you have to really will yourself. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. Everyone fails, right? Everyone fails.
Yep.
So you have to really will yourself to succeed and to get back. And number three, so the book, the success, and number three, um, you must people who are either entrepreneurs running teams in high stressful situations must figure out how to get rid of that stress. For me, it's talking to someone like a psychologist as well as meditation.
Yep.
It could be someone could go punch a punching bag in a gym. I need to go to the gym. I need my psychologist, and I need my meditation because I'm very stressed out. But you have to find something that can really, make your mind calm and less stressful, because mental health is really paramount to anything else.
Yeah.
And last but not least, I've always said family first, business photo finish second.
Okay.
You have to have besides a good crew in your team and your business, you have to never forget about your family and your loved ones, and don't neglect them, because that's what you'll truly regret later in life.
Yeah.
Business comes and goes, money comes and goes, but your family will be there in your deathbed, and you don't want to have regrets of choosing business over family. And there were times in my life where I had offers, to make God knows how much money, but I would have to be out of the house at 6 a.m. and I'd be home at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't choose any business over my family. And we talked solely about business, but I think that's a major importance for me to share.
Yeah. Well, one of the mantras of my site, jeffbullis.com, is win at business and life. And I think there's that tension between the two. And it sounds like you're working hard on that all the time, and so do I. I think you can't leave your life behind, because when you're in business, it is life. And you've got to be able to enjoy every part of it. The other thing that I think that I loved hearing from you was the importance and power of networks and nurturing relationships and looking after people. I think that was and in business that's important, and also in life it's very important. And I think that's something I certainly learned from you.
Well, thank you for learning and telling me that to myself again. I like that. I needed to hear that. So yeah, that's number four,
Yeah,
power of networks.
Exactly.
My book, the success versus failure, family first, and the nurturing your networks and the power of networks.
Yeah, the power of relationships at every level.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael. It's been an absolute pleasure. I loved hearing your stories.
Thank you, sir.
You are a absolute example of resilience,
and
hat off to you. And I do know I've felt the pain of being in a lot of debt and having to close businesses down. So it's something that I don't take lightly. And thank you for sharing your story honestly. That's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.